Saludos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar la mesa redonda de Roundtable, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas, locales, regionales y mundiales, por USA la Radio. Saludos amigos oyentes de USA la Radio. Están escuchando la mesa redonda de Roundtable desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Bueno, y como de costumbre, estamos aquí con noticias del día desde Washington, noticias locales también y nacionales, internacionales, muchas de ellas relacionadas con el COVID, el virus que sigue azotando el mundo. Ahora, vamos a ver un segmento aquí sobre países europeos que han tenido que volver a cerrar luego de haber abierto, especialmente Italia, en titulares por todo el mundo de que Italia, que había abierto y todo el mundo estaba dispuesto a manejar, a volver la rutina diaria, han tenido que volver a cerrar porque hubo un aumento en el número de casos, el número de muertes, el número de gente hospitalizada. Y de hecho, lo que sucedió allí, como ha sucedido en Estados Unidos, en algunas de las grandes ciudades, pues los hospitales están copados, entonces se ven obligadas las autoridades a enviar gente a otros sitios donde haya menos gente, menos casos, y también tengan hospitales que pueden tratar a estos pacientes. En todo caso, aquí estamos, en un virus que no podemos ver, un enemigo invisible, pero que ha matado a más de 500,000 de gentes en nuestro país y ya se va aproximando a los 3 millones por el mundo entero. Mientras tanto, pues hemos hecho grandes avances en cuanto a la vacuna, varias clases de vacuna que hay en este momento, algunas de ellas, AstraZeneca, tiene problemas. Pero como hemos venido diciendo, hay un rayo de esperanza en cuanto a ver el final de estos trágicos días del COVID. Ha arruinado nuestras economías. Esta mañana vi en MSNBC uno de los expertos presentando una gráfica en la cual muestra los grandes déficits incurridos por los países que han sido más gravemente afectados, entre ellos, por supuesto, Estados Unidos, India, Brasil, Rusia, y en la lista pues están Colombia y Argentina con grandes déficits causados por los efectos del COVID sobre las economías que ya tenían problemas. Bueno, no tanto ni en Colombia ni en Argentina, pues las economías estaban bien hasta el momento, pero el virus pues conlleva problemas, no solamente porque crea desestabilidad en la economía en cuanto a empresas que se cierran, en cuanto a enfermedad de individuos que no pueden participar en la economía, etcétera. Pero también porque el costo, el tremendo costo de las vacunas, de mantener lo que hace falta en un hospital para mantener la salud de los doctores, enfermeras, etcétera. Todos estos equipos que son urgentemente necesitados en hospitales. Pero bueno, hemos avanzado, sin embargo. es un paso adelante o dos pasos adelante, un paso atrás con esto del COVID. Un día tenemos noticias excelentes um, para resolver este problema con las vacunas. Y pues el doctor Fauci ha dado un par de entrevistas eh, en donde él nos asegura que el gobierno en este momento, y él lo hace, nos dice la verdad, no nos dice mentiras como las que nos decía el señor Trump, porque efectivamente hace un año exactamente el señor Trump estaba siempre en la televisión diciendo que el gobierno estaba manejando todo con efectividad, que no había necesidad de preocuparse, que ya en abril, cuando cambiara la temperatura, la vacuna, el virus se iría, que iba a desaparecer como por arte de magia. Mentiras y más mentiras. Esas mentiras también que han puesto en duda que pueda sobrevivir el gobierno de Andrew Cuomo en Nueva York. Se le está calentando el asunto porque ahora hay muchos demócratas, entre ellos Schumer y Gillibrand, senadora de Nueva York, que están pidiendo que él dimita del poder. So we're talking about Mario Cuomo in New York, and his troubles are getting more serious now. That two senators from New York, Schumer and Gillibrand, are asking for his resignation. But one reason he's still hanging on is that the polls seem to favor his remaining in power. Only about 30% of New Yorkers want him to resign. More than 50% want him to stay. And he's willing to fight through this because I guess he's been counseled by other people that say Senator Al Franken was too quick to respond with resignation after he was accused. Cuomo is asking that the process continue, that the investigations go ahead, and so are the senators for that matter, but they are asking for his resignation right now. Governors, remember that Cuomo is the president of the Governors Association, and now many governors are asking for his resignation. It becomes difficult for a politician when people from his own party and from his own state, like Senator Schumer, people who are in positions of leadership like Schumer and Gillibrand, that they're asking for his resignation, and it makes it untenable for him to survive this challenge. Many predict that he will, and it's possible. In Virginia, there are examples of scandals that the governor was photographed in blackface in his school book, and he nevertheless survived. He's obviously he has trouble with the black population in Virginia, but he has survived challenges to his administration. So we're going to see a reaction from other politicians, other senators in Washington, congressmen in Washington, asking for Cuomo's resignation, especially the Republicans who would take advantage of this to target one of the most popular Democrats in the country. Because up to this point, up to the recent accusations against Cuomo, accusations about his personal behavior, up to that point, Cuomo had been a very effective governor. Obviously, many New Yorkers still respect his administration, and he was on his way to national office. So at least to be able to present his candidacy for maybe for president or to serve on the cabinet of a future president. But this really damages his ascent. It will make it more difficult for him to survive politically speaking after accusations that keep getting more and more serious. More people each day are coming out of the woodwork to complain about him. But before we continue with the national politics and national international politics, we have both. There's city and state, and from here in our neighborhood, President Joe Biden will visit Delaware County today for a victory lap in the wake of the passage of the new COVID relief package. There's a lot of stuff in that package that people will like, and so Republicans wasted, we believe, Republicans wasted a great opportunity to score points because now, justifiably so, the Democrats can campaign on a Republican refusal to join them in improving the lives of people affected by COVID. So that's what the president is doing right now. The president, the vice president are going all over the country. And they are not only claiming a good victory on the passage of this COVID relief package, but also on the fact that there are more vaccines, that the vaccine has expanded, there's more inventory, there's better distribution, there's more organization, and reminding everybody that this was done after Biden took office, and justifiably so. I think that the Biden administration can point to Trump doing nothing and claiming to have helped. In fact, not only did he do nothing, he actually had an adverse effect on the population in terms of accepting vaccines, in terms of dealing with the virus, accepting the regulations, masking, washing your hands, staying away from large groups, distancing, and all that. Mr. Trump had a noxious effect on this, on how we dealt with the virus. And so it is a great chutzpah for Mr. Trump and anyone in his administration to claim that they helped the fight against COVID, especially Trump. The state will further loosen COVID restrictions as of April 4th, with Pennsylvania bars and restaurants allowed to resume bar service and operate at 75% capacity beginning April 4th. Well, that really comes as good news to one of the industries most adversely affected by COVID. We know our city was at the point in which COVID overtook our economy. Our city had become a city of restaurants, fantastic restaurants that competed with the best that New York and Los Angeles have to offer. So we're happy to have the good news about April 4th being a date in which they can resume activities at 75%. And so that's still within the boundaries for the recommendations by Dr. Fauci. Bueno, amigos, vamos a tomar una breve pausa aquí en la mesa redonda de Roundtable. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos, controlando la máquina digital. Regresamos en un momento.
Queridos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar la mesa redonda de Roundtable, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas, locales, regionales y mundiales, por USA la Radio.
Bueno, señores oyentes de USA la Radio, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital y continuamos con las noticias estatales. A bipartisan election integrity commission created by the state senate has begun examining practices used in other states to evaluate the security of state elections, as according to the Tribune Democrat. Election integrity. A lot of the problems we have right now, besides COVID, which we take for granted that this requires scientists and doctors to be involved in this. But the big problems we have as a society in terms of race and as a nation dealing with voting rights, with racism, with a lot of nonsense politically. Look what they are doing in Georgia and Arizona, and I think it's like 40 states, where the legislature is attempting in Georgia and other states to curtail the vote. Republicans saw that blacks gave Biden a victory, that the margin of victory was in large part due to the vote of the black population and Hispanic population and women, suburban women, that they have decided that instead of giving more access to voting, instead of expanding the ability of our citizens to cast a vote in any election, they are going to try to restrict the days in which we can vote, the ways in which we can vote, requiring more strict identification, and suspending mail-in votes, and putting away some of the boxes where people could cast their vote. So, in other words, everything seems to be geared and in very obvious ways geared to stopping the black vote and por ende el voto hispano. So the Republicans have decided openly that they are racist, that they don't care, that they want to identify with the white voters who put Trump in the White House, the white nationalists who rioted against the certification on January 6th. And speaking of that, I will, in another segment, address that and the issue of Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, who has openly declared himself as a racist. And the voters in Wisconsin will have to decide what to do with that. So anyhow, so we have here a bipartisan election integrity commission. Okay. And this bipartisan election integrity commission, we would like to know how they are attempting to change the way we vote, and when we vote, and how we vote. So this should be transparent. It should be made public. There should be a source of debate with those of us who vote. So I just don't like the title Bipartisan Election Integrity Commission. I believe that old saying about a camel is the result of a horse designed by a committee. So I like that. That's how I see any kind of meeting, any kind of commission that will attempt to change our votes. Remember, one of the things the Republicans are intent on stopping minority votes. They're intent on this gerrymandering that will give them advantages everywhere. That's the result of that, is that they are now in charge of the legislatures in many states. So we should keep an eye out for this. Lebanon County Democratic Party committee members have chosen Calvin Doc Clemens to run for the 48th District State Senate. The seat is in a four-way race on May 18th to fill the seat left vacant after the death of incumbent Republican State Senator David Arnn. Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, Republican of Pennsylvania, won by nearly 15 points last November, the largest victory for his tenure. How he won the electoral mass in Bucks County and what the future could hold is the subject of a new analysis by Levittown Now. Norristown Patch has a guide to the 3 ballot initiatives for voters to decide on the 2021 primary election. So, U.S. Representative Conor Lamb, Democrat of Pennsylvania, we've seen his name in many issues relating to the recent happenings in Washington, is facing a hard political path in the future ahead of a potential redistricting and a competitive race shaping out for the U.S. Senate. So, Conor Lamb, I think his reviews have been favorable. We should investigate more and see if we can support Lamb for the Senate. Representative Frank Burns, Democrat of Cambria, has been named Democratic chairman of the Pennsylvania Legislature's Second Amendment Caucus. U.S. Representatives Glenn Thompson, Republican of Pennsylvania, Republican Antonio Delgado, Democrat of New York, introduced a bill to allow whole milk in schools. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman announced a special election to fill the open state Senate seat previously held by State Senator John Blake, Democrat of Lackawanna. That will be held on May 18th. So all these elections are important. Let's remember one thing. There are many elections special elections that we don't pay attention to, many positions that can be filled and we don't pay attention. And then we find, all of a sudden we wake up and we find out that, Donald Trump was able to fill the courts with like-minded individuals. It doesn't always respond to expectations by people like Trump, but those appointments could be significant in the long run. Who rules over certain lawsuits and they shape our daily lives more closely than any politician in Washington. Judges sometimes affect our daily lives. A recent study shows that 45 purported local news websites in Pennsylvania are run by a media company led by a conservative political consultant. And that's from Spotlight, PA, a report from Spotlight, PA. We'll look at that too. 45 supposedly local news websites in Pennsylvania are run by a media company. So we can bet that this media company is a Trumpist organization. I can assure you that this is not run by Democrats or by independents or by people who are mindful of helping citizens to make the right choices. Pennsylvania's first and second ladies, Giselle Fetterman and Frances Wolf, joined a virtual rally organized by State Representative Patty Kim to support working women and the minimum wage increase. This has been at the month of women and the year of women that we are really pleased to see that so many women, prominent women, are having an impact right now. There will be less wars, maybe, if more women were in charge. Margaret Thatcher notwithstanding, or Angela Merkel, because they have shown that they can be very, very effective leaders. Not always, but how many men get a chance to reach high power and a chance to prove themselves, and they fail miserably. So, I'm in favor of more women running things. The Philadelphia Inquirer writes that the Wolf administration sidestepped a pre-existing suburban vaccine distribution plan during the COVID-19 vaccine rollout. Well, you would not be alone. We know what happened in Florida with Governor DeSantis deciding to give more vaccines to his friends in certain parts of Florida where the rich people live. The state's natural gas industry is a target again. It's on the Times Herald. The Post-Gazette says Pittsburgh City Council relief plans don't account for landlords. Well, that's one thing that we have seen and we have heard from many complaints from landlords that the provisions, the regulations regarding payments, rents, and all that do not account, don't take into account the opinions of landlords or the significant impact that non-paying renters will have on landlords. As far as national politics, coming from this city and state news, migrant children are being forced to sleep on gym mats with foil sheets and go for days without showering as the Border Patrol struggles to handle thousands of young Central Americans who are surging across the southwestern border. So that's a report from the Times. We have seen MSNBC and CNN reporting about nearly 4,000 children at the border who are living in housing supposedly designed for grown-ups, for adults. So this is becoming a big problem for the Biden administration. Somehow the Obama administration managed to fly under the radar to deport 2.5 million people. The Biden administration now is seeing the effects of creating hope for many would-be immigrants who can come to the U.S. border. And so now there's a large number of immigrant children, unaccompanied, who are showing up at the U.S. border, and that has created a significant problem for the Biden administration at a time when they need to concentrate on immigration reform, on making the system more equitable in accepting more immigrants and following the immigration laws as they stand at this moment. But that was a problem inherited from the Trump administration. We don't know how long the Biden administration can continue to blame all this on Trump, but certainly the effects are being felt at this moment. Bueno, amigos, vamos a tomar otra breve pausa aquí en Usa la Media de Roundtable. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Regresamos en un momento.
Saludos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar la mesa redonda de Roundtable, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas, locales, regionales y mundiales, por USA la Radio.
Señoras y señores de USA la Radio, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda, desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos, controlando la máquina digital. From Washington, Representative Deb Haaland was confirmed as Secretary of the Interior Department by a 51-40 vote in the Senate, making her the first American Indian to lead the agency that manages a vast portfolio of federal land and the oil and mineral wealth that lies beneath it. It's important news. For the first time, a Native American ruling a department that is concerned with the administration of all the Indian land in this country, all the American native land in this country, for the first time in the history of this country. And she has a sterling reputation, and so there's great hope that she will be a strong hand in dealing with some of the very important decisions of that department, controlling the access to the federal lands and the oil and mineral wealth that lies there. Trump was ready and willing and able to sell to his friends, to the rich people, to the multinationals, to the rich companies. And one of the things he didn't care one bit to protect the land, to protect the rights of Native Americans. What did he care about? That is the question. Because the more we look around, the more we see the effects of 4 years of Donald Trump, the more we realize that it was a tremendous nightmare for anybody still thinking that this man could possibly come back to rule. Well, many Democrats are saying they hope he wins the nomination. They hope he is the spokesman for Republicans. They hope that he is the candidate in 2024 because they will be ready. We will be ready. We will be showing day after day the videos of the January 6th attempted coup d'etat, the insurrection of January 6th. That alone should suffice. Although, as we well know, his Republican followers have their heads buried deep in the sand. They do not understand. You might as well be speaking a language they never heard, Sanskrit, because they do not listen to logic. They don't want us to believe our lying eyes because they say what you see is not what it is. And so we have this stupid senator. He has to be the dumbest national figure at this moment, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. Another sterling Republican politician. Well, we know what he did, right? He made a statement in an interview praising the patriots who staged the riot to attack the Capitol on January 6th. He said he was not worried about them, not one bit, because they were white, because they were respectful of the authorities, because they would not attack the police, because they were upright citizens, according to Johnson. So he was not worried at all. But he was concerned, he would have been concerned if the people invading the Capitol was Black Lives Matter or other leftist group. He would have been very afraid. If that is not an openly racist statement, we don't know where to go from here. So he says the people who killed policemen in the Capitol, the people who attacked and desecrated the Capitol, who were looking for Mike Pence, who showed a noose prepared for Mike Pence, who were searching for Nancy Pelosi, threatening to kill her, who pursued Senator Schumer, who can be seen running away from them, guided by police, who pursued Vice President Pence, who can also be seen escaping with the help of the Secret Service. That these are upright citizens. And this senator is representing a state like Wisconsin. Well, there was another senator from Wisconsin who also did not have a great reputation, Senator Joe McCarthy. We know what happened with him. So, but this is incredible. And this man who said that about Black Lives Matter being more dangerous than the insurrectionists on January 6th, then wrote an editorial in the Wall Street Journal claiming that he is being silenced by the left, the Democrats and the radical left. He is being silenced. When in the meantime, he's publishing an editorial piece in one of the best known papers in the world, the Wall Street Journal. Who is silencing him? He has a huge platform in the Senate to keep spewing idiocies. It's disgusting to see the caliber of some of our politicians. Don't forget one of my favorite targets, Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Jim Jordan, Marco Rubio. I do not understand why these people get any power. Why are they in any way representing any segment of the population? We were reading a headline about something that happened a while ago, but it's in West Philly. And it's detailing the death of two best friends. And somehow it just came to our attention now. But it's it was a mistaken identity, and three teenagers from a gang killed these two guys who were childhood friends. So that's an article we found recently. It's one of the things that is always in the news here, and we had an occasion to speak about this in a recent interview with Charles Peruto and Carlos Vega, who are running for DA. The number of murders in the city, the increase in violence in the city, and so it's that case of two young lives taken because of mistake in identifying who they were. But we're going all over the place here. But there was a headline about AstraZeneca, and the vaccine has had some problems. And now Germany, France, Spain, Italy, and Sweden have temporarily paused the use of the COVID vaccine developed by AstraZeneca and the University of Oxford over reports linking the shot to blood clots. So the 5 countries joined at least 7 other European nations in suspending use of the drug while researchers investigate the claims. The moves have been framed as precautionary by government officials. European regulators, the World Health Organization, and company officials say there is no evidence the incidents were linked to the vaccine. As of this morning, 37 people out of more than 17 million across Europe experienced clotting, 15 cases of deep vein thrombosis, DVT, 22 cases of pulmonary embolism. Officials argue the incidence rate is no higher than what would be expected in a population of that size, even in the absence of vaccines. Britain and Canada continue to administer the drug, which is not yet authorized in the US. The claims are the latest hurdle in what has been a sluggish vaccine rollout in Europe. Meanwhile, more than 71 million people in the US have received at least one vaccine dose. The country's death toll stands at 535,628, with 741 deaths reported in one day and a rolling average around 1,350 deaths per day. That's too many. That is definitely too many. Dr. Fauci would agree with that. 1,350 deaths at this point, it's too many. I must say, anytime we see Dr. Fauci in the news, we feel, without even knowing what he's about to say, we feel a sense of ease, a sense of confidence that serious people are in charge of dealing with COVID, that we don't have a clown with orange hair telling us to inject Lysol in our veins or to use a light. There's an interview with Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx. Dr. Birx says that she was very uncomfortable, and the video makes it evident that she was uncomfortable. She's crossing her legs and wringing her hands, and you can see she is uncomfortable with the president only a few steps away, spewing stupid recommendations about injecting Lysol into our veins or using some light that would have a tremendous effect and would attack the virus, and it will be gone by April, etc. And she's sitting there listening to this nonsense. Fauci says that putting an end to the pandemic has to be a global effort. Otherwise, we run the risk that it will come back. So that's what Dr. Fauci says. So, en español, esta doctora Birx dice que ella se sentía muy incómoda cuando el presidente estaba ahí a unos metros de ella, un par de metros de distancia, recomendando una inyección de Lysol en nuestras venas o una luz que haría algo mágico en cuanto al virus, y que el virus se iba a desaparecer en abril, eso fue hace un año. Y ella dice que estaba sumamente incómoda con estas declaraciones del presidente, pero no podía hacer nada al respecto. Well, Fauci, que lo contradijo en público casi inmediatamente después de que Trump hizo algunas declaraciones al respecto, Fauci muy pronto se vio en el banquillo, se vio lo escondió. El señor Trump lo puso fuera de orden, lo declaró en offside y no se vio a Dr. Fauci por un rato hasta que la administración de Biden lo puso otra vez al frente. But he's right about recommending, Dr. Fauci is right recommending that this solution be a global one. And so we're going to take another brief pause here in Usala Media, the Roundtable. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Regresamos en un momento.
Saludos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar la mesa redonda de Roundtable, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas locales, regionales y mundiales. Por Usa la Radio.
Señores y señores de Usa Media, estamos aquí en la mesa redonda de Roundtable, del corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Y estamos hablando sobre Fauci y las vacunas y lo que él dice con respecto a que el esfuerzo de controlar el virus tiene que ser mundial, tiene que ser global, porque él dice que si resolvemos el problema aquí en este país y todo el mundo queda a salvo, que eso no nos puede proteger contra una inyección que continúe infectando el resto del mundo y que vuelve a resucitar aquí en nuestro país. Así que él dice que es necesario que este esfuerzo para controlar al virus sea un esfuerzo mundial, global, con todas las vacunas disponibles para vacunar a los más de 6 billones de ciudadanos en el mundo, sobre todo en los países más seriamente afectados, como en Europa, en Asia, en África, en Latinoamérica. Ahora allí está Argentina y Colombia, Brasil, que están seriamente afectados por el virus. So Fauci says this has to be a global effort. Vaccines for everyone. But he says that the goal of the Biden administration is eminently achievable to have everybody, at least anybody who wants it, vaccinated by the end of May. At least have the vaccines available, and if you want them, you can have them. And he also said something very important. Unlike Donald Trump, he would offer these vaccines to the rest of the world. Be a very generous gesture from the U.S. towards other nations. More charges in Washington against the people who rioted on January 6th. The FBI continues to investigate, and more individuals are identified and charged in court. 2 men are behind bars now in the investigation of the death of officers with chemical spray. One officer, Sicknick, died. The FBI is using video to identify the 2 men as they assaulted the Capitol Police. They have them on video, and they show what one of them is saying to the other one about a canister to spray the Capitol Police. And they are shown using the spray, which apparently caused the death of Officer Sicknick. But there's no proof of that. Now, national reporters are complaining about the fact that there has not been one serious organized press conference. Listen to this. That was January 6th. And since then, since that riot, attempting to overturn our democracy. There has not been one official press conference with responsible individuals answering questions. And why is it that we don't know who, when, how? Why don't we have an official narrative of the events of January 6th? And there is a call now for somebody in charge to come out and speak about the events of that day, to put an end to rumors and to say with clarity, this is what caused the death of Officer Sicknick. Nobody has come out and said that. In fact, it's always like alleged cause, a suggestion that some individuals were responsible. Well, no, we want to see names and dates and means by which these people attacked our democracy. It should not be left to imbeciles like Senator QAnon Johnson of Wisconsin to come out and make stupid statements and then pretend that he's been silenced when he has the biggest platform. It is time for somebody in Washington to take the lead. Because now we can no longer just say, well, all this was done by Trump. Now the Biden administration is in charge. There is a new person at the FBI. There's a new person in charge of our security. And there's a new person at the Justice Department. Merrick Garland, who has a sterling reputation as an upright law enforcer. He needs to take the lead, perhaps, and say, this is what we must do. This is the individual in charge who will explain what happened, how it happened, who did what. These are the people responsible. This is the result of that riot. This is what we saw. This is the video that exemplifies what happened. This is what we are doing about that attempt against our democracy. Donald Trump is no longer around to be blamed for this. So whoever is in charge in Washington, Democrats also are in charge of the Senate. Democrats are in charge of the House. Democrats are in charge of the federal government. So they cannot hide. These individuals are well known now. There is video. There is video of not only the people who rioted, but there is video of the people who instigated the rioters. We can clearly see the president, the ex-president, Donald Trump, addressing the crowd and telling them that he will join them if they go to the Capitol. Donald Trump Jr. doing the same thing, inciting the crowd. And then that shameless scoundrel, Rudy Giuliani, doing the same thing. So it is time for somebody to take charge of this and spell clearly. Look, MSNBC mentioned the case of Tiger Woods having an accident and a press conference immediately after the accident explaining what happened, how it happened, what the condition of Tiger was, etc. That within hours of the accident. Now here we are. I mean, February 6th, March 6th, 2 months and a half since the riot, and nobody has come out with a press conference. It's time. Bueno, amigos, hemos llegado al final de esta edición de la Mesa Redonda. Muchas gracias por su sintonía en el día de hoy. Se despide Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Los esperamos. Hasta la próxima.
Saludos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar la mesa redonda de Roundtable, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas locales, regionales y mundiales. Por Usa la Radio.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
Not sure about tomorrow. I will text you and let